That that's the academic answer. In real life, there's gray area. That's where the tech assignment's going to come. Given a contingency table, that's a two-way table compared to two variables. Determine if the probability of marijuana, given that this person is in the age group of 26 or older. The data comes from, and grammar was obviously not one of the terms for this thing. It comes from substance dependence or abuse for specific substances in the past year by 80%. And it's very old data. So I suppose if you want a typo bonus point, we can fix the grammar. You can find me some data that's probably a little bit more relevant than the year 2002. I mean, a lot of different ways we can go there. But in terms of answering the question, I like going the highlighter route. This is my given. It's given that I'm only focusing on the individuals who are 26 or older. And then from those individuals, I'm looking for the probability that a person is a marijuana user. All right, so we got meh and meh. In the past, I've used questions like this as an indicator question. Like indicator questions are the ones that are like the bare minimum of knowledge, which is like not reproducing formulas or anything like that, but it's like one of those like you get this one wrong on a test, and then come to me saying I worked really hard, I studied with all my might, and I didn't do well on this test. I'd be like, bull crap, you studied. That's a difference. I mean, there's exceptions to prove every rule for crying out loud. But eventually, before you hand in the test, you put down the right answer. You. Because I was like, there's no way that's the answer because I didn't have to do anything. Yeah. But we didn't have to do anything number one either. Number 9. I always put a gift or two on here. Like, for every question, like that binomial question where you gotta pull your hair out, there's a question where it's like, yes, now you got it, moving on, you know?
But wasn't it to ask you then for the number of marijuana users and the total number of drug users?
Say it again?
It's asking the number of marijuana users compared to the total number of drug users?
Compared to the total number of users in the 26 or older category. Yeah, that given component is telling you to ignore everything else, only focus on the category of individuals in that particular group.
How would you word it if you were just looking for the marijuana users?
If I just wanted to know the probability that a person is a marijuana user, I would just say P marijuana. So this wouldn't be there. It would just be that. If I wanted, I could have gone the other way around, where it was 26 plus vertical / marijuana, then it would be given that we're only working on the marijuana users. So I'd be looking at just this row, and then I would focus on the 26 or older in that category. Right? So always establish what the given is. It's whatever comes after that vertical line. That's your given. Isolate that information and only work off of that information. Ignore everything else. It is designed to be a gimme. There will be a question that looks almost exactly like this on the test. Number 7. Yeah, almost. I mean, I'm not going to give you the exact same question, but I'll give you something very similar. And I do similar because I don't want people to feel bad when I give the exact same question and they still get it wrong. So, all right, number 8. Construct a tree diagram or list the sample space for 2 tosses of a coin in succession, so one after the other, followed by a roll of a die. Right. This one is also kind of a gimme, just more like you have to do stuff to earn your gimme. But heads or tails, that's my first toss of the coin. You don't have to label it, I'm just doing this for instructional purposes. When I get my first heads, I can, in my second toss, I can get a heads and a heads. Or, well, a heads, giving as a result heads and heads. Or I could get a tails, therefore giving me heads and tails. Or maybe the first toss gave me a heads. Now I have a possibility of getting a tails after the heads or a tails after the tails. All right. So that's your normal breakdown for two tosses of a fair coin. Then I have to roll a die. Six-sided number cube. So all right. It should all look like a completely connected network. So if you have parts that are like disjointed all over the place, it's not going to be good. And I'm only bringing this up because I've seen it in the past where people would say, they would, for example, do the head stuff over here, and then just for the dice, they just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and be like, oh, that's a tree diagram. I mean, it shouldn't look like a real tree, but it should have characteristics of a single tree. Right, so starting off at a particular location and then branching off from there. Right, so you have your first toss, I'll make a note, second toss, and then the roll. And then, I don't even know, I'll just shut it down a little bit. Something up. Oh, there we go. I just completely botched that. All right. Well, I'm just leaving it. So I'll just write roll. All right. So it's supposed to be a nice way for you to demonstrate knowledge while also earning some points pretty easily. All right. Number 9. 3 cards are selected at random from the following set without replacement. All right, this is what I was talking about when we were going over cards. Like, I'm not going to test you on your knowledge of a deck of cards. If I'm going to talk to you about cards, I'll give you a subset of the deck of cards. All right, so this is how I like to do it. So what is the probability that they're all clubs? So I have 3 cards that are being selected without replacement. So I would want to know the probability of getting a club and another club and another club. All right. Now, on my answer key, the one I posted up, what was it, yesterday? I used conditional notation. You don't need to use conditional notation as long as you know what you're doing, what the underlying concepts are. So you could write something like this, for example. Probability of club times probability of club times probability of club, as long as you know that after you select the first club, the probability is going to change when you go to get the next club. Right? As long as you know that, then you don't have to write the fancy notation that I used. So I don't even want to bring it up now because it'll be counterproductive, I guess. All right. So I'll just highlight my set. The relevant set, we got these guys here. Total of 7 out of 14. Once I select one, because again, it's without replacement, I now only have 6 clubs left out of 13 in total. After I select the second one, I now only have 5 clubs left out of 12 total. You have calculators. You're more than welcome. I mean, you can also try to simplify if you want. But you can just pop this right in. I'll also accept, because it's a really cool demonstration of knowledge, I'll accept permutation notation. I'll show what that looks like in a minute. So 210 over 2184. But also, if you just look at the numerator, oh boy, I tripped. Like my hand tripped somehow. It starts off at 7, and it goes 3 spaces, kind of like a factorial. So that would, the 7 times 6 times 5 would be the same as 7p3. The 14, 13, 12 is kind of like a factorial. If it could go all the way down to 1, then it would be 14 factorial, but it's only allowed to go 3 spaces. So if it's only allowed to go 3 spaces, then it would be a permutation. So either form would be okay. I mean, both of them are really great. It's just one of them also throws in the fact that you understand the connection between these fractions being multiplied and their equivalent permutation. Not a requirement. And also, it's like what I was saying before about sometimes trying to get too cute. You know, when you're taking the test, if you're not sure, then do not write this. But if you are and you want to avoid some funky numbers, or maybe you just don't feel like for that problem, type it in 7 times 6 times 5, whatever. You just write 7p3, 14p3, and call it a day. All right. I think that's a pretty cool way of doing it.
Calculator to reduce pretty nicely. Because like you can reduce to 10 over 2,184, but I don't know how to get it from like a decimal back to reduce fraction.
2 ways. So math frac, if you're going from decimal to fraction, if you want to go from a fraction to a simpler fraction, then you could use a fraction tool and just type in the 210 over 2184, and it'll automatically simplify it for you. If you have the decimal and you want to go to fraction form, that's where the math frac comes into play. Math, enter, enter. Either way. No, no.